to the Good Boy Podcast, the monthly dog storytelling podcast. I am your host, Ilya Alexeyev, and today I'm joined with a special guest, someone who I just met, but that's awesome because it is a listener, and so occasionally I have listeners reach out and say, hey, I'm interested, this is like a cool little idea, and I'm like, awesome. So I'm joined by a listener, Rachel. Hello, Rachel.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good. Recording this, it's Sunday morning for me, so, slept in a little bit. Just chilling, ready to talk about everyone's favorite subject, right?
Yep, definitely.
Awesome. So, tell me and everyone just about your kind of like relationship with dogs. Have you grown up with dogs? Did you just get your first dog recently? What's kind of like your history there?
My history with dogs, I definitely did not grow up with dogs. I always wanted a dog when I was younger, but my mom, she has like severe allergies and she wouldn't let me get a dog, which is understandable. We had cats. She was allergic to cats as well, but that she doesn't have as severe of a cat allergy as she does to dogs apparently. And so I grew up with cats. We had I think 4 cats at once was the most that we ever had.
Oh, wow.
And I liked cats, but I always wanted a dog. I knew dogs were, in my opinion, they're a lot more fun to have than cats. That's just my opinion. But so I always wanted a dog growing up, and I had friends that had dogs like in my neighborhood. I never had one. And so when I was 24, which I'm 25 now, when I was 24, I got my first dog. I got him last year in March, right before the pandemic started and everyone went on lockdown. So I adopted him, and as a puppy. He was actually 5 weeks old when we got him. It was a situation where he was taken from his mother too early and everything like that. So he was super new, like super newborn when we got him. And so he is the first dog that I've ever had and raised him from 5 weeks. And he goes everywhere with me. I love him so much. But yeah, I definitely didn't grow up with dogs. Always wanted one. Finally got one. And he's been so much fun.
Awesome. And so right off the bat, when you first got him, you're like, I knew it. Dogs rule. I'm so glad I finally got one. What was your kind of, talk us through you actually getting him and your initial feeling when you got him?
Well, we kind of got him, I don't want to say off of impulse because that sounds bad, but I had been wanting a dog, obviously my entire life, but I was like, I had just graduated college and I was like, well, I was working and I was like, this might not be the best time to get a dog. I couldn't figure out when would be a good time for me to get a dog because I didn't, puppies are extremely hard work. And so I kept putting it off and I was like, maybe I should get another cat. And I'm glad I didn't do that. But I was like, maybe I should just get a cat because they're easier to take care of. They're more independent. And I was like, no, I really want a dog. And so March came around and this was before everyone had went on lockdown, but my company sent me to work from home for the rest of the year. And I was actually 6 months pregnant at the time. I had a baby in June of last year. And so I was going to basically stay home the rest of the year with maternity leave and everything. And so I was on Facebook one day and I saw these puppies that someone had at their house to be adopted. And I was like, I really want this dog. Like, I don't know. I saw the litter and I was like, I feel like I'm ready to get a dog. And I had woken up that day and I had not thought in my head like, oh, I'm going to get a dog. I just saw them on Facebook and I told my husband, I was like, I really want this. I really want this dog. I really think we should get him, which it was the whole litter, but they were all boys. And so I was like, I've been wanting a dog. I've been wanting a boy dog. And so he was like, yeah, I mean, if you're going to be home for the rest of the year and, you can get him. And so, that was it. And right when I got him, he was definitely more difficult than I had expected. Like, I always tell people, I feel like puppies are more difficult than infants because, I mean, I have one and, she's very easy, but my dog was, very, very difficult to raise. He required so much work And when I got him, I mean, I had wanted a dog forever, so I was super excited, super happy. Took him everywhere with me. I still do. Definitely. A lot of people say they get like depressed after they get puppies and stuff like that. I never felt like that just because I think I was like so excited to finally get a dog because I was like obsessed with dogs when I was little. I remember I had this stuffed animal that my mom had gotten me because she wouldn't get me a real dog. It was like a stuffed animal of a dog, but it was like electronic to where it would like bark and stuff. To like have those
Oh,
back in
what
like
was it?
2000.
I'm sorry. Was it one of those ones where it had like, and you like gave it a bone, do
Yeah, it
stuff?
was some. Yeah, it was something like that, and it could like move its like legs and stuff, and like, I had one of those, and so I would like tell people at school that I had a dog, and like I didn't have a dog, but I would tell people at school, I'd be like, yeah, I have a dog, and like his name is whatever, and like even though like I don't have a dog at all, so I was super excited to finally get a real dog.
Awesome. You saw this Facebook post. Was this someone you knew that they their dog had puppies and they were selling them or giving them away?
Well, yeah, they was pretty much like that. I didn't know the person. Here in the South is like there's like a big thing with people who are just, I don't want to say people who do it, but dogs who are not fixed and they just kind of like roam around and have puppies and like, and there's stray dogs everywhere down here. I'm sure there are all across America, but definitely in the South there's like a big backyard breeding issue down here where
Oh
people don't
wow.
they don't fix their dogs, and so there's stray puppies and stray cats as well, like all over the place. One of the I think it was the people, I don't know who the people are, but their neighbor's dog had gotten pregnant or something, and they didn't know who the dad was, and so they had this litter of puppies, and they were, and I don't think shelters were at that point. Shelters weren't taking any more dogs because they were shut down due to the pandemic and everything like that. And so they had put them on Facebook, and they were selling them, but they weren't doing it for a profit.
Gotcha.
They were basically doing it to make sure they went to good homes, like, because I know a lot of people don't want to give away animals for free, but because you never know who could get them, which I agree with that. But yeah, how I found the litter, there was like two other litters available in my area with the same type of things, as they didn't know who the dad dog was, and they were just trying to find the puppies a good home. And both of those ended up falling through. All the puppies were already claimed or something like that. And so I saw this third litter, this which is the dog I have now, and I don't know, I just wanted him. Like there's just something about him that I liked, and so
So
that's how it started.
so you always wanted a dog. Did you have any were you one of those people like, I want a male German Shepherd, or I want, did you have like a specific dog, like big dog, small dog? Did you have anything in mind, or did you think it
I
was just something like when you saw the dog, like you'd know that's it?
definitely kind of both. I knew I wanted a male dog just because I had always had female cats growing up. And so I was like, I kind of want to change it up and get a male dog. Which, if it would have come down to it and like we would have rescued a female dog or something, it wouldn't have mattered. Like if it was a dog that needed a home and we felt like we wanted to get it, the gender wouldn't have mattered in the end. But I definitely wanted a male dog if I had the opportunity to choose. Definitely wanted a large breed. I personally am not a fan of like small breed dogs. That's just my personal opinion. And neither is my husband. We had talked about getting a dog, and he was like, okay, like I don't have any preference as long as it's not a small dog, because he does not like small dogs at all. And so I had wanted a dachshund. I had mentioned, I was like, well, let's get a dachshund. Like, they're small, but they're not super small, and like they can't really, jump up on the counter or anything like that. And he was like, no, I don't want a small dog. And so and I was like, okay, we can get, I like large breeds. So I was like, okay, we can get a big dog, but big dogs are typically like harder to care for in some ways than small dogs. So we definitely wanted a large breed. We knew what the mother dog was of Curtis's litter. That's what my dog's name is, Curtis. But we knew that his mom was a blue nose pit bull, and so we knew that he was whatever. We didn't know what his dad was, but we knew that he would be like a medium to large size dog. And so yeah, I definitely wanted a male dog. Definitely wanted a large dog. I wasn't gonna get a dog from a breeder. I don't have an issue with that, but I just personally didn't want to go that route. I prefer mixed breed dogs. I know a lot of people are the opposite and they like to go through a breeder, in which there's benefits to that as well. But I definitely wanted like a large breed mixed dog.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I've always preferred big dogs. As a kid, we had medium-sized dogs, but I was a kid, and then we got a black lab my senior year of high school, and since then I was like, yeah, I just want big dogs. So I'm right there with you. As well as I would say too about like the breeder thing is like, it can be expensive, especially depend like, and you know, like there's so many dogs that need homes, and so it's like,
oh, definitely,
dropping a few $1,000s, when there's always dogs that need homes is, well, I'm not gonna pass judgment. I know people who have bought dogs from breeders, but for me, like, all my dogs have been through the Humane Society and they've been great, and they need homes too. So
yeah,
so
definitely.
talk about like the day when you actually met Curtis and that process.
So basically, like I said, I had woken up that morning. I had seen the post on Facebook. I messaged the girl who had posted it, and she messaged me right back, and she was like, yes, like we're selling them for $100, or they weren't selling them, but she was like, we're requiring that you pay $100 to make sure that they go to a good home or whatever. And so I told her, I just messaged back and forth with her and told her a little bit about myself and sent her pictures of our house and our backyard, because I wanted her to know that, we weren't people, because, a lot of people will get free dogs off of Craigslist and Facebook and like abuse them. And that's just like horrible that people do that. But I wanted her to know that that wasn't our plan, that we actually wanted him, of course, as a pet. And so I sent her some pictures of our yard, our house, told her that we both have stable jobs. We won't have a problem paying for his vet bills and everything that he needs and things like that. And so I sent her, some pictures, and she was like, well, she was like, I'm at home, so you can come look at the litter whenever you want. And so she sent me her address, and it did run through my mind at several points. I was like, what if this is fake, and like, what if this is like a staged robbery, and I'm like trying to get this puppy, and I'm and I get robbed or whatever. And so I drove to her house, and she had the litter there. She had brought them out to the front porch, and I want to say there was 5 left. There was 9 in his whole litter, and they were all boys, which is interesting, but there was 5 left. And I kind of played with them a little bit, and they all looked the same. Literally every single one of them. They were all black and white, so like they all looked exactly the same, and they were all boys, so it really wasn't like difficult to pick. It wasn't like I sat there and was like, well, this one's a girl. And like they were 5 weeks old, so most of them were asleep. But the one that I picked, Curtis, he was like very energetic, very happy. He was like licking me, standing up on the side of the pen, like trying to get to me or whatever. And so that's how I picked him. I was like, he seems very friendly, and there was a couple of them that were like, seemed maybe like shy and were off in the corner, but he was very energetic and outgoing, and he definitely is to this day. He is very, very friendly, so that hasn't changed.
So once you're concerned about it being legitimate adoption, did you think like, all right, like there's like 99.9% chance that I'm coming home with a puppy?
Well, I knew I was gonna get a puppy regardless.
Okay.
I definitely knew, unless I would have gotten there and there was like something seriously wrong. I knew that I was gonna get a puppy, and I'm a fan of pit bulls. That's just a breed that I like. I know a lot of people don't, but personally, that's just a breed that I like. And, I wanted a large breed. And so, and his mother dog was also there. And so I played with her a little bit, and she had a very good temperament. And, I got to meet her and everything. And so, yeah, I mean, I didn't feel uneasy about it. And after we got him, a few weeks after we got him, we did a DNA test through Wisdom, I think. And he's actually like 50-50 Great Pyrenees and Pit Bull. And they didn't know what the dad dog was. So the dad dog was obviously a Great Pyrenees. So yeah, he's a pretty interesting mix of dog, but he has an excellent temperament, and that's what everyone always says. Like, whenever we take him to the vet or we take him anywhere, people be like, "Oh my gosh, his temperament is so good. Like, he's so happy. He's not aggressive at all. I've never heard him growl. He's not food aggressive. You can literally like take food out of his mouth. He
wow.
doesn't." He won't do anything. You can take toys from him. He's good with kids. He has an extremely good temperament. And so people will be like, "What breeder did you get him from?" And I'm like, we got him off someone's porch. Like, we didn't get him from a breeder. And so, yeah, he has a really good temperament. So we got lucky. I don't know if all of the puppies have a good temperament, because I don't know where they ended up, but he definitely has a great temperament, and he's a very, very happy, friendly dog. So we got lucky with that. And we got him, of course, like health tested and everything. And he doesn't have any health issues, no problems or anything like that. So we got really lucky.
The breeder's called Porch. It's very boutique. It's a
Yeah.
long wait list to get in. Very exclusive.
Very expensive.
So talk about like the first day, like when you brought him home. Like, how are you feeling? Like excited, euphoric, nervous?
Definitely excited. I brought him home. I got him home that night. And we didn't have anything, like nothing. We didn't have any food. We didn't have any like supplies or anything. So before I even brought him home, we went to PetSmart. And we got like, of course, food, like bowls, a leash, a collar, like everything that we needed for him to have or whatever, and some toys and everything like that. And so we brought him home, and he didn't, I mean, I know some puppies, when they are first brought home, they're like scared because they're away from their litter. And he wasn't like that at all. Like, he slept the entire way home, and then he woke up. And my mom always jokes, and she's like, "Yeah, he was asleep when you got him, and then he woke up and he was like, huh, she seems nice." Like, and because that's literally how it was. Like, he woke up and he wasn't like scared or anything, or like looking for his mom or his litter mates or anything. And he was friendly. He was happy. He didn't seem afraid. He just like fit right in.
That's awesome. Like, that's like, it seems like you couldn't have it go any smoother. Like, that's
definitely
incredible.
Yeah, we definitely got very lucky. I think about that all the time because I'm in a lot of pet groups on Facebook where people like adopt dogs from shelters or breeders or whatever, and they'll post about like, we brought this dog home, like, and from the breeder, and like it bit my whole family, and like won't let us touch it or whatever, which is sad. Like, I feel sorry for people with issues like that. And so we definitely got lucky that we have not experienced any issues like that with him. He's just super happy.
And so, how were those like early days? Like, were you able to like train him? You follow like some online guides? Like, talk about the early days of Curtis.
We definitely had to do a lot of online stuff because after a few days after we got him is when I think it was when the whole country like went on lockdown, definitely our state. And so none of the training places were open. Like, we wanted to do puppy classes and everything like that, but nothing was open. They weren't offering anything. And so we had to do a lot of like YouTube videos to learn how to train him. We took him to the vet, got all of his shots. But I mean, he was definitely very puppyish. I mean, your typical like happy puppy. But as far as training goes, yeah, it was kind of depressing because everything was closed, and I wanted to get him in training like immediately. But everything was shut down, so we really didn't have any options. So we had to, do a lot of it ourselves in the early days. And then June came around, and that's when everything was really opening back up in our area. But then I had a baby in June, so I'm like, well, I
I
can't,
can't go anywhere.
yeah, I'm like, I can't go anywhere. I can't take him anywhere, immediately after that. And then so I think it was August or September when we got him in a training class at PetSmart. And like, I know a lot of people they have differing opinions on PetSmart, but the PetSmart in my area is really, really good. They are super nice. They have super good training classes. So we took him there, and he did beginner training, intermediate. He learned a lot. So that's what it was like in the early days. We were home all the time because of COVID. And so we spent a lot of time with him. He was really never by himself. And so, yeah, that's basically what it was like in the beginning for us.
And like, what was kind of like your goal training wise? Did you just want him like the basic like listen to you when you call him? Like some people want their dogs to sit at like the corners before crossing the street. Some people have like there's a lot of varying like degrees of training people want. What was kind of your training goal?
I didn't really have one because I didn't know a lot about dogs. Like when after I got him, I kind of discovered like this whole world of like dogs. Like people have Instagrams for their dogs, which is why I made him an Instagram. People have like YouTube channels for their dogs, like all kinds of things. I didn't know about any of that. And so when I started looking into training, I just wanted him to do like the basic sit, stay, leave it, like commands like that.
Yeah.
Nothing serious. Some people are like very, very serious, and they want, their dog to be, super well trained and very, very strict with training. And I mean, that's fine if that's what they want, but I didn't really want that. I mean, I like to let him be a dog and like act like a dog, but he still he still knows how to listen. Like he can do sit, down, stay, leave it. After he did his first 2 training classes, he did a board and train program here in our town, and that was a 3-week program where he stayed with the trainer for 3 weeks, and she taught him a lot of just like manners with other dogs, like how to play with other dogs, socialization. And that's what I really wanted him to do because of COVID, he hadn't really been around a lot of other dogs because we couldn't get out and do anything. Like the dog park was closed. And, I have friends who have dogs, and he was around their dogs, but that was it. And so he did his beginner, intermediate training, and he did his board and train. And so he's pretty well trained now. I mean, he's still very puppyish, but like for a puppy, I would say he's pretty well trained.
That's awesome. Talk about the relationship between the dog and the baby, because that's something like I'm really interested in. I've seen videos of like dogs being like extraordinary affectionate, like curling up with the baby, like licking the baby. How's yours around a baby?
Definitely. Everyone told us, like a lot of people told us, because he is half pit bull, people were like, well, he's going to kill your baby. Like, he's going to eat your baby. Like, that's not smart.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. And I mean, I never was worried about that because I raised him from 5 weeks, and like, I know him. I mean, of course, dogs are dogs. Like, you don't know every single thing that goes on in their head, but I have a pretty good idea of his personality and things like that. And so everyone was like, oh, he's going to be so jealous. He's going to hate the baby. He's going to be so mad. And I knew he wouldn't be like that because that's so not Curtis. He's very like Scooby-Doo-ish. Like I tell people that he's very much like Scooby-Doo. Like he's very happy and like goofy, and he's never in a bad mood. He doesn't get jealous. Like I can go to the dog park and play with like 50 other dogs, and like he never gets jealous. He's just like very happy. And so when we brought her home, he didn't really seem to be, he's so like, I don't want to say clueless because he's very smart, but he's like just very goofy, and he didn't really seem to even care like or be concerned with what was going on. And so he's been around her, I mean, because they live in the same house, but he in the beginning, I mean, he was kind of just like didn't really seem to notice that she was even there. Now that she's going to be 8 months, she's kind of like up and doing more stuff. And so he loves her now. He licks her all the time. She loves to pet him. Like, she thinks that he's so funny. She laughs at him all the time when he bounds around the house and acts crazy. And so definitely he didn't have any issues. Like, from the moment we brought her home, there was never an issue with him being jealous or anything like that.
That's awesome. Like I haven't had any experience with any of my dogs like meeting babies, but just like walking my dogs in the past, like I could always tell like if they saw like a baby in a stroller or like, you know, little kids who can barely walk and they're like holding like a parent's hand, like they do react differently, but it's like they can tell that it's a baby. And it's like,
yeah, they're very smart.
They're like, and it's just like an attitude, like I don't know about attitude shift necessarily, but it's like they can tell the difference between a baby or like a small child and just like an adult. And so that's awesome that Curtis has been, I mean, perfect with the baby, because like that, I mean, because, you know, like if you know, you're not looking, the baby pulls the dog's ear or something, you know, like that's always like a fear, but like it seems like no issues there.
Yeah, he's definitely, like I said, we got very lucky. He's definitely a very good-natured dog. Heard some very, very sad stories of people's, you know, dogs like biting their kids, whether it was provoked by the kid or not, like pulling their ear or messing with the dog or doing something, or the dog just being very jealous of the baby. Like, I've heard some very like dark stories of stuff going wrong like that. And so it can definitely be scary. And I mean, and I know Curtis, like, he's the sweetest dog ever, but I still always, every time they're together, I always, you know, there's always supervised. I never leave them in a room where they're by themselves or anything like that, because you just don't know what could happen, even though I'm 99% sure Curtis would never hurt a fly, but you just never know. But that's another thing that I want her to grow up knowing, is that, you know, you have to treat animals with respect, and you can't, like, just because you have a pet in the house, you can't, you know, abuse a pet and play with it like it's a toy and stuff like that. Because I know a lot of kids, I've heard a lot of stories of kids being hurt by pets, and it's because they provoked the pet or messed with it or took its food or did something that the parents should have taught them not to do. And like, so definitely from day one, I've been teaching her like to be gentle, and, you know, this is how you pet a dog, and things like that. Even though he loves all kids, like, I still want her to grow up knowing that you have to respect animals and give them their space.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And so do you have any like stories that kind of like you've talked about how delightful and wonderful Curtis is. Do you have like any stories that really like epitomize your like this is like the Curtis story, and this show, you know, this is just like epitomizes why he's so wonderful?
I would say I don't have any specific stories, like one specific story, but just a lot of little things. Like, he loves to go in the pet store. That's like his favorite thing. I take him in there every weekend in PetSmart or in Petco or just somewhere, even if it's like a local store. I take him somewhere every weekend so he can get out, and, you know, he loves to see people. He loves to look at he loves to go up to like the guinea pig cages and like look at the small animals and stuff. And people always like get so excited. Everyone at our PetSmart in our neighborhood, everyone knows him. Like, the whole staff knows him because he does training there, and because we go in there so much, they know him by name. And every time he comes in, they're like, oh my gosh, Curtis is here. And like, they come out from the back and give him treats and pet him and everything because he's so sweet. And of course, he loves the attention because he's very like outgoing, and he loves attention from anyone or anything. And so he gets super excited, and like all the kids come up and pet him and stuff like that. And so he's actually, this year, he's starting his therapy dog training, because I think that would be something that he would be super good at and that he would love to do. So that's what he's going to do this year, is to be therapy dog trained so he can go to hospitals and schools and stuff like that.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That's incredible. Like, you messaged me on Instagram, like when you initially reached out, and you put it says positive pit bull, with the pun positive PAW, but
Hmm.
like that's like absurdly true. Like everything you said, he just is like seems like such like joy and delight.
Oh, definitely. People always ask that when he's like so happy and they're petting him in the store or whatever, and he's being so sweet. And people are like, "Oh, what breed is he?" And I'm like, "Well, he's half Great Pyrenees, half pit bull." And they're like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like 'cause, a lot of people don't like pit bulls and they think they're mean and aggressive, and which I'm sure there are some out there that are like that, because my personal opinion is it's how you raise a dog is what makes it, is how it's going to grow up to be, which of course there some dogs have genetic issues, but I raised Curtis to be very, very sweet and very affectionate, which he was by nature anyway, so it made it easy. But people always ask what breed he is, and when I say pit bull, they're like, "Oh, really?" I'm like, "Yeah, he's half pit bull, and he's not like vicious or aggressive or anything like that." And so that's definitely um and that's definitely, I like it when people ask that, because it kind of makes them realize, like, oh wow, like these dogs aren't, all the time they aren't what the media says that they are.
Yeah, and I think there certainly is to be something said. I 100% agree with you with the its training. And like for me, I always wonder, it's like there's got to be something about pit bulls that attract people who mistrain them and mistreat them, and where
Hmm.
they've gotten this bad rap. So we're out here saying, here's a perfect example of a wonderful pit bull. So they're out
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
Please train your dogs properly.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Is there anything else you want to say? Maybe anything like you wanted to say on the show?
I don't think so. Just that for anybody that's just gotten a puppy, because I know a lot of people have adopted puppies during the pandemic. I mean, I did, because a lot of people are still working at home and they have a lot of free time, or it's just, and that's why I did it, is because I knew I would be at home for the rest of the year, and it was finally like the perfect time for me to get a dog and be home with him and stuff like that. And so just if anybody has just gotten a puppy or is thinking about getting one, definitely don't give up. That sounds like cliche, but there are so many times with Curtis, I was like, this is so hard. Like, it's so hard to potty train a puppy and leash train and all this stuff. And like, I would just be like, oh my God, I can't do this. So definitely don't give up. It gets better with time. Curtis is about to be 1 next month, and so he's definitely far easier than he was when he was a young puppy. So definitely don't give up even when it gets difficult. And another thing would be, don't compare yourself to other people that have dogs that act differently, because that's something that I used to do a lot. Is I would see like friends who have dogs, um or other people out in public with dogs, and I would be like, wow, like that dog seems so well trained. Like, they seem like, because Curtis, I mean, he used to be, when he was a puppy, he used to be extremely hyper when we would take him out, and so I would see people with like calm dogs and be like, wow, that dog is so much better behaved than Curtis. Like, what am I doing wrong? Or this dog was potty trained so much quicker than Curtis. Like, what am I doing wrong? And so I would like compare myself and beat myself up and be like, oh wow, I did this wrong or whatever. And I would say definitely don't do that, because every dog, it doesn't matter how good your dog is, every dog has its own set of issues, just like people do. Like, just because you might not be able to see that someone's dog has issues, it definitely, I mean, there's definitely, no dog is perfect, is what I'm trying to say. So don't, if you just got a new puppy or if you're thinking about getting one, definitely don't compare yourself to other people.
That was extremely well said. Uh, Rachel, thank you for reaching out and coming on the show. Sounds like you've done a wonderful job with Curtis, and Curtis is a
Thank
wonderful,
you.
wonderful dog. And I will definitely reach out to you down the road, just out of curiosity about how the therapy training goes, because
Yes,
that's a
definitely.
wonderful thing. So again, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you, the listener, for listening. The show is available on all podcast platforms: Spotify, iTunes, Google Play. If you listen on it, it's probably there, and if it's not, let me know and I'll figure something out. Please rate or follow the show wherever you do like it. That helps with visibility and helps get new listeners. I've also been working hard on growing an Instagram page at The Good Boy Pod. So check it out. There's a lot of wonderful dog pictures there. Thank you, and keep petting those dogs.